Hello and welcome to Breezy Chatter. Today I'm going to be talking about Temptation Island, Season 5, Episode 4. First and foremost, thank you to those who have subscribed to my channel. Your subscription is highly appreciated, and let's get started. So we're picking up where we left off. We have Great, who seems to be quite ashamed of what Paris had to say about topping Christian off if the cameras weren't on. And you see the guys reacting to what Paris said, and Mark had to ask Great how he felt about what he had just seen. And Great said that he was embarrassed because Paris is supposed to be his woman, and he said it looks bad on him. He said he's always been curious about how she behaves when he's not around, and he clearly did not like what he saw. And then it was Rob's turn. He got to hear Vanessa saying that she feels like she's lowered her standards being with him. And Rob didn't really care about anything that he saw. He said that he's relieved. He feels so much lighter without Vanessa in his ear. And he said he's just happier all around. And then we have Hall watching Caitlin having a connection with Mike. And Hall is also relieved because he's made an instant connection with Michaela. And he really feels like she is the woman that he's been searching for. So we have the ladies and gentlemen heading back to their respective villas, and the ladies did fill the guys in on what happened during their bonfire. And the guys, when they return to their villa, we see them all in the pool, and we have Tammy talking about how she feels like she's really aggressive when it comes to dating right now, and that's not typically her style. And then Christopher suggested that everyone go around the room and talk about what they're looking for in this experience. And before anyone could get started, Abby looked over to Christopher and said, "What we'd like to see in you is some authenticity." So she's implying that he's not being his true self, that he's fake. And Christopher didn't take kindly to it. And Abby kept going on saying that he's a narcissist, that he's upset that she's not interested in him anymore. And Christopher said, "I think you're twisting this around. I think you're upset because I took Alexia on the date and not you." And of course, Abby's denying it, saying, oh, she didn't care who he took on the date. But we also, Abby approached Christopher and asked him why he didn't choose her for the first date. So we know that she did feel a way about that. And from what I could see, she was totally twisting everything around, and she was really just telling everyone how she was feeling. Putting those feelings off on Christopher, she was deflecting, and we don't have any context. Like if there are missing pieces that we don't know about, we can't speak to that. We can only speak to what we saw. And it was clearly Abby attacking Christopher because she's not having her way with him. So everyone got quiet, and Christopher, he just removed himself from that conversation. He didn't want to argue with her. So we also get to see Great talking about how he is going to carry himself as though he's single. After seeing what he saw during the bonfire, he is going to just relax and he's going to do him. So then we had group dates at the women's villa. The ladies went fishing, and at the guys' villa, they played soccer. And the singles got notice that someone will be eliminated at the end of the group date. So we have people who haven't really made connections, sort of worried, thinking that this is going to be their last day at the villa. And we got to see people talking, trying to get to know each other. We had Abby and Hall talking. We have Christopher talking to Tia, Rob talking to Marjorie. Marjorie's plan was to just convince whomever she was talking to that Nafisa should be the one to go home. Vanessa was telling Bryce that he needs to step it up. He's not doing enough. And Bryce said he was just trying to give her some space. Then we have Tammy and Great. Tammy wants to know what's up, what's going on, what does she have to do to be number one. And Great said there's nothing that she needs to do, just continue to be who she is. And he also had to remind her that he does have a girlfriend. So it's elimination time. So the women narrowed it down to Christian, Bryce, and Griffin. And Griffin was sent home. And the men narrowed their choices down to Marjorie, Tia, and Abby. And of course, Marjorie had to say again that she feels like Nafisa should be the one going home, not her. Of course, Nafisa becomes very defensive, and she was telling Marjorie that she's made connections with the men. at the villa, and Marjorie said she doesn't care about that. She's saying that she's just not a good person overall, and she's just bringing bad vibes to the villa. But it doesn't matter because they voted Marjorie to go home, so she's going home. And of course, it's party time, and we have at the guys' villa, they're playing around with body paint. So everybody's blending paint on everyone else's bodies, they're dancing, and just more of the same, drinking, dancing, grinding. And then at the ladies' villa, there is a talent show. So we got to see Bryce open a can of beer with his teeth and drink it as fast as he could. We saw Tajik and Christian. They were doing their Magic Mike moves. We had Mike reciting some poetry to Caitlin. We also got to see a juggling act courtesy of Christian. So the women seemed to be thoroughly enjoying the talent show, and we had a tie between Mike and his poetry and Tajik and his striptease. I must say, Vanessa looked like she needed to be hosed down when she was watching Tajik. I mean, Tajik went all out. He had oils, and Vanessa was thoroughly enjoying that strip show. It was a tie between him and Mike, and of course Tajik won, and his prize was he got to cuddle with Paris. So they spent the night together, or they slept in the same bed. Then we saw Caitlin and Mike, and Caitlin is starting to have some feelings for Mike, so much that she didn't want to sleep in the same bed with him. And she was also saying she didn't want Hall to go to a bonfire and see her laying in a bed with another man, because she knows that she wouldn't want to see that. So she decided to sleep on the couch. Mike slept in the bed, and he seemed frustrated. Then we have Rob and Des. They had their first kiss. Christopher and Alexia, and they were talking about what they want out of life. So Christopher is really starting to connect with Alexia. And of course, the episode has to end with a bit of drama. We have Nafisa being super messy, asking Tammy if she brushed her teeth. And of course, Tammy was like, what do you mean? What kind of question is that? Like, are you trying to imply that my breath stinks? And Nafisa saying, oh, I'm just asking, I don't mean anything by it. But we all know that Nafisa doesn't say anything just to say it. She was being messy, okay? She knows that Tammy is her competition for Great's attention. And she just set Tammy off. And if Great had a buzz, they killed it. He was just so sick of sitting there listening to them. He just had his head down in disbelief. And that's how episode 4 ended, with Nafisa and Tammy arguing. And that's my commentary. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and leave comments. Thank you for your time. Until next time, ta-ta.